Okay, Jason, your box is here. So let's go ahead and start the evaluation process. Okay, 2 sachets. Watch number 1. And it's twin, watch number 2. All right. Very good. All right, so we're going to have to do one at a time. So let's start with the one on the left. We'll begin there. So set this aside and let's get started here. Okay, so remarkably, these are both family pieces, but from different sides of your immediate family, your father-in-law and your father's watches. It's interesting. It's been polished. I think you mentioned you'd actually polished the crystal. Okay, so this is a 1972 6139 6005. The Severt or Sever Blue Pogue. Very nice dial. Your ring has faded, as one would expect. For some of these, they have a unique look all their own, but they do fade out to that sort of ash gray rather than the black that they normally come as. Nice bracelet. Quite a few links. Yep. Everything's correct. Condition of the case is worn, but not bad. You still have, the brushing on the tops. Everything turns as it should. It is running. Reset is back to vertical. That's nice. Okay, so condition-wise, a good watch. Let's go ahead with this one and get the bracelet off and get the case back looked at. See if we can get that off easily. We'll keep the bracelets separate. I will label them so we can make sure they go back on the right watch. Okay. So let's see how well this is on. I think you had mentioned that on this one you had polished the crystal, in fact, and sealed the watch again, perhaps. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this on a machine so I can get the case back off without any damage. So I'll be right back. It didn't take much effort. You do have some scratching, of course, on here, but we're not adding to that, which is good. Okay, I'm not sure how new that is, but you do have a somewhat more pliable seal. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, one of these watches, I'm not sure which one, you had mentioned that there's some noise in the ball bearing. I don't think it's this one. That one sounds okay too. These do have some noise if they're not lubricated, of course, and they always will. But what you're really looking for a worn ball bearing is this kind of rubbing here. Now, yeah, it's pretty worn, but not terrible. I mean, I've definitely seen worse. I've seen them to where both sides are badly rubbed, all of the finish off of the edge. You can see here it says Seiko Time Corp unadjusted. That means they were not adjusted in any positions other than one. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but not worthy of replacement, in my opinion. Okay, so let's go ahead and wind the mainspring to full wind, and then we'll check it on the time grapher and really see what the performance is. Okay. All right, so let's have a look. Okay, Jason. Well, this one looks good. I did find a service mark in the case back. Right before I put it on, I opened back up and had a look. I don't know, there's no discernible date, it's just a marking. But perhaps that was fairly recent, or the watch sort of sat for a long time after that without being exposed to anything. So, you know, this is service territory. So I would say this one is probably good to go. I would not mess with this until you notice it start running poorly. Not keeping time or needing some help, but it's definitely not limping. This is good. This is where you want to see them. Yeah, so I think this one is perhaps off the table for a service at this time, and we'll move on to the next watch. So that one looks good. So we're on to the 1973 watch, and so this one looks like it saw a little bit less sun. Of course, there is a little fading on the ring, but not as much as the other. Dial looks good. Crystal is scratched. Definitely saw a lot of wrist use. You can tell the buildup, accumulation of gunk. You had said something in your email about something leaking out of the watch. I think what you're actually observing is something we affectionately in the business call arm cheese. That's what that is. That is not out of the watch. That's out of the arm. Okay, so I also spun this around. I'll wind it by hand. That seems pretty normal to me. That's not out of the realm of reason in terms of how it's doing sound-wise. So let's go ahead and just take the case back off and have a look. Okay. Same basic architecture. I do not see any service marks in this case back, which is not necessarily indicative of service. Seals seem to be doing their job. Not much. I mean, there's not much here to write home about in terms of the quality of this seal at this point. It's a little bit past it. It just looks like it's been squeezed in weird ways. Perhaps it's the wrong size seal put in. But it has not seen water, which is good. You can tell there's a little bit more wear here. So here are these corners. And you can see that's probably what you're hearing. But frankly, it's not terrible. I have seen a lot worse. You may notice a little bit of sound, but it still moves pretty freely on the ball bearing framework. And honestly, it's not that bad. I've seen a lot worse. So that may be what you're hearing, but I wouldn't anticipate too much benefit from changing that out. We can take a look under your cap jewel, which is usually indicative of existence of lubrication, at least to first order. But it doesn't look like much under there. So what we'll do is we'll wind this one, just like we did the other. And we will check its current state. All right, let's go ahead also and check your, it's a little loose. Okay. Okay, so around we go. All right, we're going to put this on the time graph. So this watch tells a slightly different story. Not a bad story, but still one that is a bit different than the other. And so you can see, even though these are vastly different in terms of the adjustments, the quality of the signal is still quite good. So that gives me a hope that it's easily reboundable to a level of the other watch. Now, of course, every watch is its own entity, so this one will be where it is, and that one will be where it is. But 209 for an unserviced watch, pretty darn good. I mean, these, again, are probably watches that got use at some point and got put away. So pretty good. I'm not angry at that number. Of course, the beat error and the rate, those are just adjustments. That's easy to get right, and it's the amplitude, of course, as I always say, that we're searching for through service. It's the signal, the clarity of the signal that matters too. So these being individual points and lines of points rather than a scatter of noise makes a big difference. So, all that said, a great looking watch, definitely could benefit from service, seals and everything else, of course, and a crystal if you're interested in that. I have Hardlex crystals for these to go on, and they are identical replacements. So we'll come back to the bench and discuss both watches, and we'll go from there. Okay. Well, this watch I think comes back as is. You definitely got some polish on the crystal, which is fine. That's good. I'm not sure what seals you used, or you probably maybe got a kit from somebody, perhaps. But I'm pretty sure this was your dad's watch. So it's it looks quite good. I think this one's ready for use until you notice something that requires a service. Your father-in-law's watch, I believe, that's the origin of this one. It needs a really good clean, and it would definitely benefit from service. I mean, all watches, of course, of any age that don't have lubrication in them are just grinding themselves into oblivion. They need it. The pivots wear. The material that they move in, the artificial, rubies, the jewels, they're harder. And so if there's no lubrication there, they definitely can wear. So that's going to wear over time. If you are thinking about wearing this watch or handing it down, preserving it is the right approach, of course. Cleaning it and getting it resealed will go a long way to making sure that it's there for the long haul. So I think maybe we put this one aside and perhaps focus on this watch for the service. And if that's what you want to do, we can proceed and go from there. So I'm going to send you this. We'll have a chat and move forward as you see fit. All right. Well, thanks for watching.